10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Gonna need to unmute yourself, Cedric.
Doug. Bells and Belts. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back on a Wednesday to Bells and Belts. I'm here with Bro Jackson. Tell me more. Y'all know him as Belt Club Podcast, Mr. Jason Davis. What's going on with you, man?
What's up, guys? How's it going, man? How you guys doing?
Oh, man.
It's good.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm dealing with all kinds of freaking difficulties with the internet today. Y'all have to excuse me, but we're gonna make this freaking happen. It's a monthly free for all, guys. And, we're gonna chat with you guys. We got a couple things we're gonna talk about. But we definitely want to hear from you guys, right, Josie?
Yep. Please go ahead. Drop stuff in the comments. If you got questions you want us to talk about, anything subjects you want to talk about, or just personal questions that we may or may not answer. Now, go ahead and drop them in the comments. It's meant to be an interactive show. Most of our shows are not. I mean, they are interactive, but they're not just open to, direction during the show. So we would really appreciate it if you would participate and put some stuff in the comments for us to talk about as we await Cedric to come back on the show. Want to remind everybody, coming up Monday night, Jason, go ahead and tell them where they need to be.
Oh, yes. So come and join us at Champions Belt Club. We have just launched our own page podcast, and it's me, myself, and Tony Thorpe, my partner in crime, joining me every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And we're going to be featuring your very own Bro Jackson in 2 weeks on April 14th. So Monday, April 14th. And,
no.
We have a really
May
good
15th.
time.
You said April.
May 15th. I said April. Yeah, we're going back in time. That's how we're going to do that. We're going to be hitting the hot tub time machine and going back in time. So May 14th. And we talk wrestling, we talk belts, we talk collecting. In our show this week, or what are we today? Wednesday? I've lost all track of time. This past Monday, we did Tony Thorpe did a really, really cool sort of breakdown of some of his LGN figures and all the Hogans that he's customized, which is really cool. We talked, Tony does, if you guys like Tony's reviews and you like seeing those new belt days, he does a belt of the week every week. And so he features a different belt that we talk a little bit about the history of and some of the wrestlers associated. And we always talk about current events and things like that. So,
hey, sounds good to me.
Make sure you're actually in the Facebook group, Champion. Take my brain.
Champions Belt Club.
Champions Belt Club.
Yeah, and you can find us on YouTube and on Facebook. So come hang out with us.
Go ahead and join our Bells and Belts podcast Facebook group also, where you get to be interactive with the creative here, where we ask for your input in polls and things like that, where to get your opinions on what you want us to talk about. So make sure you do that. If you're seeing us on Facebook and you haven't checked us out on YouTube, make sure you go on YouTube to Bells and Belts podcast, like and subscribe, as it says right below. Tell me more. And
this is the place to be on Wednesday nights.
We're dropping a lot of content.
What are you doing? What are you doing with your life if you're not here?
Yeah, right. But we're dropping unboxing videos, lots of entertaining shorts that we got. Yeah, Man Up dropped a couple of dang unboxing videos last week. So
yeah, I had 2 come in at one time. So I said I'm gonna drop one a day, and in a couple of days I'm gonna drop another one. But yeah,
I was like, somebody's taking a run at Tony's title.
Oh no,
it was good, man. It was awesome. They were great.
Oh man! So if y'all want to see my latest 2 belt unboxings, go ahead and subscribe to Bells and Belt on YouTube, and y'all can see everything that we are doing. Not just me, Joey as well, and Cedric as well. When he comes back on, he's having some difficulties right now. He'll be back soon. But fellas, let's go ahead and start our conversation. The first thing that we was talking about when we was offline was the MJF situation. Man.
Well, it's a tweet. Can you
Yeah.
put the tweet up, because Cedric had it, but I don't know.
I think because he's having problems, I'm not able to put it up right now.
Okay.
I was just looking for it, but because he had it and now he's
so maybe we ought to hold off. Hopefully, we get him back in a minute and we could talk about that.
Okay.
There is something else I was going to bring up about cultural differences, especially when you're talking about the belt collecting hobby and ordering belts from Pakistan. I notice a lot of things come up where a lot of people have questions, and sometimes there can be cultural barriers there in the way that we deal a lot with Pakistanis that are making a lot of these belts and selling them, sending them to us over here. So there's definitely, if you're just getting into the belt collecting hobby and you're dealing with a Pakistani maker, there's a lot of things people don't think about that aren't customary probably in their culture, like how people seem to get aggravated when they don't list their prices immediately and they want you to message them. But I think there is something to be said about that being kind of a cultural thing for them.
Really, me personally, I think also too, it does depend on what you want, how you want it as well too. Because some people, okay, I'm gonna just throw out a belt. I'm gonna say the Wing Eagle. Some people might want it just regular basic Wing Eagle. Then some people like I've seen a few people have the stack plates, and that's gonna cost you more because that's more work into it. Even like myself, I get custom belts. That's going to cost you a little bit more because they got to stencil it out and edge it out to the exact way that you want it and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more work. So people have to understand when they're asking for certain things, you got to understand the pricing that comes with that as well too. So I think just people just need to understand what's the word I'm looking for, ramifications of what they're asking for. Sorry, I had a brain freeze right there. But other than that, man, I think, if you have questions, feel free to ask someone who is, I ain't gonna say a professional in it, but some people that bought belts before and kind of have an idea, let me put it like that, of what to expect. I mean, hey, I've had people messaging me and I say, hey, this is what I like to do, and I have no problems with the person I go to, and blah, 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 all that good stuff, and I would think, we all here to help each other. This is a group where we might, we're here to help one another get what you want in this wrestling hobby.
Yeah. Lots of things. We were talking offline too, and a lot of people, there's a lot of like things about, industry, and we were talking. I don't even know how to pronounce the city they live in. Starts with an S.
Sialkot.
Yeah, like it's a lot of industry. It's a very industrial city, and a lot of people don't realize that. And I said something, and Tony heard it because I was talking about how they have a huge textile industry. And a lot of people aren't aware of that they
and actually number one manufacturer of soccer balls in the world.
Yes.
So a lot of leather and stitching work there. So
they make the balls for the World Cup.
Yeah.
I learned something new. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things there. They speaking of the textile industry, behind the United Kingdom, they are the number 2 fabric supplier for like tartan fabric for Scottish culture, Scottish Highland culture, for kilts and things like that. People don't realize that, but they make a ton of it.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason they make a lot of the championship belts there too. They have a lot of the metalworking, shops. And some of it when you see it will take you back because it would seem somewhat primitive to us compared to the way manufacturing is done in America and Canada.
I think the other thing people have to remember too is that there's oftentimes, like, if you took, it's the best way to explain this is if you took every person in the United States that is a painter, an artist, somebody that paints portraits,
Uh-huh.
and you put them all in one city, you're going to have paint shortages.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality. Like if you've got 100 makers in one city or 150 makers, man, I couldn't even guesstimate how many people are out there in the internet making belts in that city. But it's up there. It's in the hundreds for sure. Maybe even higher. I don't know. But what that means is that you've got all those people that need zinc, all those people need brass, all those people need leather, all those people need acid. All those people need all of this. They all need the same materials. So you're going to have periodically through the year, you're going to have droughts in what's available in terms of materials, just because of the sheer demand of the number of people in that area that use it and need it. And then the country itself, because they have a very different climate than we deal with in North America. There are times through the year where it rains so heavily and for so long there that you can't get through roads, so you can't get between towns or get between cities or whatever the case would be, which would obviously have a huge impact. Imagine what a snowstorm does to North Carolina. Now imagine that's 2 weeks of flooding rain, and you're going to have distribution and supply problems as well. So a lot of that happens over there as well, and that causes a lot of problems. They have, because it's a Muslim dominant country. You've got a very different set of holidays, very different set of like, you know, we all expect, everybody here kind of expects to take Christmas off. Everybody here kind of expects, you know, a 2-week vacation in summer, whatever the case may be. And when those guys go on vacation for the various religious holidays, I'm seeing people losing their minds in the chats because they can't get a hold of a maker. To them, that's normal. To them, that's when they take time off, because that's culturally what they're doing. And so that discord or that difference in culture sometimes creates miscommunication between makers and buyers, because people have expectations that they should be available 24/7 to be communicated with, and you wouldn't expect you wouldn't expect somebody to be messaging you on Christmas Eve asking you why you don't have their belt ready. So if that's the case, then you should respect, you know, if they're in the middle of Ramadan or in the middle of whatever they're going through, then you know, we have to respect that. So
Hey, I 100% agree with that statement, because at the end of the day, it's just like here, like you were saying, when it rains, hey, me growing up in Southeast Texas, you know, hurricanes or tornadoes all the time. And of course, you ain't, okay. So I know.
You're not worried about getting Buddy his belt, are you?
No,
it's not your major priority at the time.
I'm worried about making sure my house is all right.
Right, exactly. So that's something to consider, you know. I don't think people think about the supply thing. Like, you need materials to make this stuff. It's not like they just snap their fingers and the belt materializes. Right. If you can't get if you can't get your hands on zinc, how are you making belts? You know, if you can't get your hands on decent leather, how are you making belts, right? And so,
right, it's and it's a hard concept, because especially here in the U.S., people think that we have people that are very religious and devout in their faith. It's a whole different story in a Pakistan culture, where the government is completely centered around the religion, whereas the United States is a country, it was founded on freedom from that. So it's like where religion is not in the government. We have separation of church and state, and that's typical for the first world now. For North America, the UK, church and state are separate. We don't keep, those are not a thing. And so, but over there, it's very much the state is run by the church. So you have to say, when the religion dictates this day is a day you don't work, or you go to prison. like it's very much a different world.
And that's something that I was learning on a kind of a different note. The first time I went to another country, I learned their culture, and it opened my eyes to a lot of different things. So when you're talking about people in other countries, you have to understand, just like here in America, we got to live by the laws in this country. They got to live by the laws in theirs. So,
welcome back, Cedric.
Man, look here.
if it could go wrong, it's gone wrong in his last 15 minutes.
That was Shockmaster sort of level.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Good, man.
Yeah. I'm on my phone right now. My laptop's
that was sparkly stormtrooper kind of like tripping over 2x4 kind of.
Yeah. For some reason, I restarted my computer earlier in preparation for the show, like I always do. But all of a sudden, like, we have updates. We're gonna go and update this thing. And plus, my internet won't act up, so it's crazy. Like I'm on the Wi-Fi now, but the Wi-Fi was acting up earlier, like right before the show. So yeah, it's a little bit of freaking Murphy's freaking law. Everything is going to go wrong. We will go wrong. So,
but you're a professional and you're rolling with it, brother.
Hey man, the show must go on, brother.
Yeah.
Well, we bored people a little bit here talking about culture and stuff like that while we're waiting for you to come back so we could actually get to the subject we were going to start with.
And let's go. And I appreciate y'all waiting on me with that. With that being said, man, I'm going to bring up the graphic of the tweet that we're going to be talking about this evening.
Let's go ahead and start with this right here. This was a tweet that was sent out, and then it was immediately deleted. But let's go ahead and bring this up.
All right.
Now MJF put up I guess he wanted to express his feelings, lack of a better phrase. And it reads I'm quoting MJF's tweet right here. It reads, the more wrestling fans become bloodthirsty for these dangerous feasts in the ring, the more wrestlers will hurt themselves trying to curry fans' favors. Wrestlers. The fans don't understand that at any given point, we can be paralyzed from the neck down or even die from a maneuver as simple as a body slam. By the way, fans, reading this, body slams hurt. Every move hurts. They will keep moving and the goalposts of what they deem as good. So before you do something stupid, consider this. Their tweet about you, Banger, going pay their medical bills. Excuse me. Do the right thing. Go in that ring with the intention of winning the match and leaving the ring the same way you entered it. Get the winner's purse and get out. How y'all fellas feel about that?
I think it's a mix between a shoot and a work. So I think part of the tweet is that he's working, like that. Some of that is just about he's working in the whole like don't. He's kind of working in his whole like anti-fan. I don't care what they think. Get in there and win and get out and screw the fans. So there's a little bit of the MJF sort of like heel sort of. And the dude, he's smart because he's getting a point across, whether we agree with it or not. He's getting a point across, and he's also working at the same time, which is smart. You guys go ahead. I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I get both sides of it, and the big thing about it is it's like they try to do whatever they can to get over to hold the audience reaction. All these things is it's constantly evolving. I use that word a lot when I talk about like the current state of wrestling, like how it is truly different from a lot of us when we started watching wrestling. And a lot as wrestlers do more and get more outside of what we've come to know as wrestling. As wrestling, the fans' expectation levels go up and whatnot, and and you got at some point you got to pause and it's like when we look at what they do in the ring now, it's like what's that next evolution gonna look like?
Well, what you think that, Joey?
Well, all right. So
Joey's about to dive in. I'm just gonna prep y'all for this one. Joey's about to dive in on this one. So
take a deep breath. Here we go.
Yes, here we go.
So first off,
put the spotlight on him, man. Put the spotlight on him because this is gonna be good. I already know where he's going.
All right, here you go, Joey.
So first things first. There's no reason if you're trying to talk to other professional wrestlers, Twitter or the shitter or whatever is never a place for you to do that. That's a conversation to have in the damn dressing rooms or whatever. That's a conversation to have with other people at the show. And if people actually gave a shit what he thought about their performance, it would matter. But the fact that he took it down quick indicates to me that somebody probably saw it and were like, this motherfucker, and probably let him know it was stupid up for him to put it up. Because first off, no fan that reads that is going to give a shit or buy into his thing. Because here's the truth of it. The fans have been accustomed to thinking what he does is actually good work and that he's a good promo. But every time I ever hear him, he's just screaming cuss words and shit. So, to me, I don't think, I've heard the stupid comparisons to Roddy Piper, and I was like, no. Like whenever I hear a promo or see him work in the ring and it be on the level of Roddy Piper, I will bow the fuck down and admit it. But I ain't seen it. And all I've heard is him screaming at the top of his lungs in front of a bunch of reporters, looking like what's the little guy on A Christmas Story with his little crutch and his little fucking
no. Yeah. Go ahead.
Whatever the fuck. I mean, how sad and pathetic this shit is while he thinks he's working smart. He's probably part of it is that, okay, here's the truth. He probably wishes he was that athletic, A. But what did he do to get himself in a movie and get himself the world championship? He started using steroids. Congratulations, man. Your waist got a little bit smaller and you gained a little bit more muscle because you finally learned A, how to work out, and B, where to get gear. So congratulations, fucktard. Now, second, I haven't seen a match yet where he did anything impressive in the ring. So he's a very marginal in-ring worker who's not that great of a promo. He's just he has very strong conviction in the shit he says, but doesn't fucking, say anything. He just cusses a lot. And furthermore, again, he took it down real quick. So again, the place to work with, to talk to other wrestlers about shit about the wrestling business is not on fucking social media. That shit right there is about as bad as these fucking indie fucking marks that work the indies in their fucking cars on their lunch break in their mechanic uniform cutting a promo for Saturday's show. Guess what, dumb fuck? Nobody's buying a ticket because you look like a fucking mark. Now, and regardless, dude, at least back in the day when wrestlers cut a promo, they had sense to fucking take their shirt off. But they could because they fucking worked out every day in the gym and did what it took to look like a fucking wrestler. Now these guys don't, most of them. He does make a point. But the fact is, the wrestlers dictate what fucking sells and what doesn't. The fucking company does too, especially when you're talking about a national wrestling company. All the fucking promoter has to do is say, stop doing this fucking stupid shit or get fired, and they won't do it. So instead of having stupid discussions on Twitter, maybe go talk to the fucking owner of the company and tell him, hey, like people are getting hurt and doing dumb shit on your fucking national TV show, and maybe you'll get somewhere.
Woo! Whoa! Gotta give him a round of applause on that one.
Maybe, yeah. When he becomes an impressive worker himself, and I'm not talking about doing flips and shit like that, just learns more psychology. I don't give a shit if you can have the cardio allegedly to go 30 minutes, 60 minutes in the ring. If the match is fucking boring, then what the fuck?
Wow.
Comparisons to Roddy Piper, my ass.
Okay.
This is the free for all.
Let's go around the room. Does anyone actually consider MJF comparable in any way to Roddy Piper in ring, on the microphone in any way? Do you think he's on the same level as Roddy Piper?
First of all, I want to know who came up with that comparison.
No.
I've heard it many times though about him.
But just to go ahead and answer your question, no.
Yeah.
But no.
I think what he's doing speaks to his lack of experience as a top guy. And I think that if you go back and historically look at some of the better dressing rooms over the years that wrestling has had, and you pull out who in conversation and anecdotes after the fact have been called locker room leaders, you can trace a line between all of them. These are guys that just did it. They didn't tell you to do it. They didn't tell you should do it. They didn't tell you how they just went out in the ring and did it themselves that way. And they showed you, and they led by example, and they had respect. People respected them because of their work rate, and because the way they worked, and because of how they carried themselves in the business, both in the ring and outside of the ring. So MJF, you want to be a locker room leader, be the change. Show people, like, improve your work rate. Stop using stupid high spot moves and start putting some psychology into the matches and start showing them how to build character and how to build a story. And if people see you making money doing that and they see you successful, guess what'll happen? They'll go, shit, I got to start doing that too. They're going to start doing it too. And that becomes a company thing. It becomes how everybody works because they see that it can be successful. There's no better way to change the culture of something than to do it yourself and show that it can be successful. So you want to see change in the wrestling industry? Start leading by example and do it yourself.
Ooh-wee. All right, what you think there, Cedric? Cedric, you there?
He was there.
I think he's having more issues.
Both guys have good points to it as well. Oh gosh.
Yeah, he's having some issues right now. Oh wow! All right, let me go ahead.
Can I add a bullet point to that as well? Because I think it's besides MGF's. Besides the arrogance in the statement, like in like half of it's characterization, and then he's just playing the heel, and the other half he's preaching to the locker room, telling the guys that it's the fans' fault and that they're pushing you to wrestle this way, and they're leading you down the primrose path to self-injury and all that is a load of shit. The reality is that it's one hand washing the other. It's a cycle. The fans expect more blood, and the wrestlers know that if they give the fans more blood, they're going to get more attention. That's the perception. And so it's around and around and around we go. So what I said about MJF, that culture has to shift because somebody has to show these younger wrestlers that you can be a character, you can be present, and you can be authentic, and you can make people care. You can be invested in what you're doing. You can. We always just sort of put it under the envelope of psychology, ring psychology, but it's deeper than that. It's about actually being genuinely invested in what you're doing. It's about being present. It's about being authentic. It's about being all these things that draw people's attention and focus to you. I deal with acting stuff all the time. It's my business. It's no different. It's no different acting on the stage in Shakespeare than it is acting in the ring and being a wrestler. It really isn't. It's the same work as what you're doing in a Hollywood movie or in a TV series or anything else. It's the exact same work. And these guys, that muscle is weak. They don't understand that end of the business. They only understand the athleticism and the explosiveness and the coordination and all of that other stuff. And they don't understand a thing about how to look through a camera and connect with somebody and actually tell them a story. And if somebody would just do that in this generation and show people that it made them special and different and successful, they would all, because nobody, like, they're all going to jump on that. If they can see that you're making more money doing it, they're all going to do it if they have the talent to do it, and they may or may not. And that'll weed itself out. But putting it back on the fans and saying the fans are driving this and the fans are the reason that we're all breaking our legs and killing ourselves and getting concussions is a bullshit. It's you're responsible for it as just as much as the fans are.
Maybe Dave Meltzer deserves more of that blame instead of, keep giving 5-6 stars to matches where people damn near kill themselves. Maybe instead of, and this is a point Disco Inferno and Conan make a lot on their show, we're just talking about, not being able to work. And then what happens? Everybody's like, oh, Disco doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's like, no, he was more over than most of the guys are now. And when he came back to Impact a few years ago, the crowd was almost non-existent at the Impact shows for anyone else, but Disco, they were on their feet booing him. They were into it.
And more importantly, look at Disco's life after wrestling. Because if you really want to see, if you want to see the tail of the tape, dude can walk. Dude hasn't had to have multiple back surgeries. Dude hasn't had to have his knees replaced multiple times. You've got, and he made money doing it. So you have to ask yourself,
a lot of money compared to what they're making.
Honestly, who's the smarter guy? Is it the guy that worked that way and got you pissed off at him and got you invested in him and came out with money and bought a business and is successful and living a healthy adult life? Or is it the guy that did all the guy that can't get out of bed in the morning and has had 4 back surgeries and three knee replacements? But man, when he went through that table, it was awesome. Honestly, come on, guys.
Disco had a good look, a good physique, didn't have to use steroids to have it. He just looked like an athlete. He had enough, he was cut up enough to where he looked very athletic. And he had enough size to where, he was booked on TV every week. Yeah, I mean, you talk about one thing, these guys are fighting over TV time at AEW. WCW was stacked too, but Disco was on TV every single week,
right.
On Monday Nitro or something every week in a match. No matter what he was doing, he was out there, like you said, and he's got good quality of life now. He aged somewhat gracefully. And the reason you can tell he wasn't on gear is like Lance Storm, his body just kind of got a little smaller, but he still looked good. But he didn't shrink and lose 50 pounds overnight and look like a bag of crap.
Yeah. And I'm not shitting on gear and the guys that gas and the guys that, because to me, that's a whole other conversation. Steroids in and of themselves are not just about size and bulk. They're also about recovery. They're also about longevity. They're also about it's not just about how, getting jacked to the tits. It's also about, they sometimes they prolong your career if you use them smart and you're not abusing them and damaging your body. I think there's a place for it in sports. Honestly, if it's a level playing field and everybody has access to them, I don't have an issue with it. As long as we're talking about something that maybe isn't about maybe fighting, not a great idea. But other than that, if there's no impact involved, what harm is it?
Well, the point is too that you can be a successful wrestler and have a good look and not have to do that if you don't want to.
Yeah,
you don't have to look like a bag of mushy potatoes like Adam Cole.
Well, it's the culture of it's different. I was listening to the podcast, Joe Rogan podcast, a couple of days ago, and he had Ric Flair on, so I decided to tune in and sort of check out what they got into talking about. And Flair, of course, started going into the road trips and how they would drive around the country back in the day, the territory days, the NWA days. Yeah. And he got into talking about Ming, the same old kind of sort of bar stories you hear over and over again about Ming, biting people's noses off and Harley, stuff that wrestling fans know, and Harley Race in his legendary left hand and all of that stuff, right? You hear about that stuff all the time. But it also it had me think for a second. It's you know what? Everybody looked like they looked like legitimate badasses because they had to be legitimate badasses. Because Flair said we were getting in bar fights twice a week. It was just the reality of it. We're driving in the back roads, we're going to these small towns. Some drunk local is going to come up and test you, and if you don't drop them, you're hurting the business. Because everybody that was in that bar and word of mouth in town finds out that so and so dropped Ming in the bar, they're not going to go buy tickets the next time you come through. You blow through town because they're not going to believe that Ming is a monster.
Right.
So there was almost this sort of this idea you had to legitimately be able to look after yourself when you're going into this environment, and that's all gone now. Because kayfabe's gone, and because everything is a work now, and we know it, and everything's sort of been exposed the way it is. all that responsibility has kind of come off the wrestlers. They don't have to be. You can be 140 pounds and flip around in a mask, and you don't have to worry about a bar fight usually. And it's just a different culture now, of course, probably for the better. I'm not saying it isn't. Well, in terms of like, in terms of probably well-being and personal safety, but man, like try to make us believe it.
Well, and I think that's, a lot of people came to Seth Rollins' defense about getting taken down by that fan and not really doing anything about it. And, but at the same time, like, that was the thing. It was like, well, you're just wrong if you have a problem with that. And it's like, no, he looked like a bitch.
No, it hurt him. It hurt him.
Yeah,
it did. When that guy jumped Bret Hart at the award show, there were like 6 very large men just absolutely kicking.
Mostly Harry.
Yeah, mostly Harry, but also
Harry was going to handle.
What's his name from FTR was popping him as they were pulling him out of the ring. He was under. I call it the hockey uppercut. Like he had him like he was like right under here, kind of smacking him. That's not a bad thing to let fans know that if you get in here, that's what's coming. Like that's what's going to happen.
I saw it happen at a show with Jeff Jarrett where a fan got in the ring and Jeff put the boots to him.
Yeah.
I mean, stomped the skin off his face damn near. And that's what you get. You climb up in there, you get that liquid courage in you, and you think you can jump up in there. That's the way those guys came up. Now it's just kind of like, oh, security, like do something about it. It's like, no, dude, no time to wait. Like you got to come off. And I get it. I mean, I get it. When you're playing the chicken shit heel, you're a chicken shit, but not to the fans, to the baby face.
Oh man! Yeah. See, the one thing I think about this tweet here. Let me go ahead and get my insight because we've been on this for a little while. I think this here. If I've always been taught, if you want change, you be the leader of change. And what I basically mean when I'm saying that is kind of like piggyback on what Jason said there. Don't complain about it. You know what I'm saying? Do something about it. If you don't like the fact that fans wanting this and wanting that, okay, then you don't participate in it. You stick to your style and that's it. Because other wrestlers are going to do what they're going to do, what they feel like they have to do, and put it like that, to get over. And whether we think that it's good or not, which I don't think it's good, because you can seriously hurt yourself, or you can take yourself out of here, if you lack a better phrase. So that's something that everybody needs to be aware of. Yeah, it might be entertaining. Oh my God, he went through a burning meter right there, just fell. Oh my God, he got power slammed off to the moon. It's like, come on, man. But is this wrestler? This is another human being. He wants to go home to his kids if you have some. You know what I'm saying? He wants to go home to his wife if you have one. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. She wants to go home to her husband and her kids. So you can be entertained without all the crazy nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Just focus on what it's supposed to be. And then
just change your priorities. Change your priorities in the ring. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I still go back and watch like Brad Armstrong wrestle and people like that, because give me that. Give me some good technical wrestling, some good wrestling. And I'd rather have that any day than it's a bunch of bullshit.
Man, if I click a show on or click on the internet and I see somebody throw a punch and it's a work punch and I have to really look, like I have to lean in and go, man, I don't know. I'm hooked. I'm there. Like I'll watch the rest of that match and I'll start Googling that wrestler and I'll look for all their other matches because the minute I have to go, man, are they shooting in the ring right now? Is he pissed off at him? Like if you can throw a punch that makes me believe or question whether that was a work punch or stiff, I'm in.
Hardly anybody even throws a damn punch anymore. It's all these flipper forearms.
But you got me. You got me. Like if you can lock up, and I genuinely feel like you're trying to sort of get a position over him instead of just waltzing back and forth across the ring, I'm in. Like I'm in. If it generally looks like you're trying to beat this guy, I'm in. Just Just show us, like, make it a sport again.
The best thing for MJF to learn how to do is to learn how
Hey,
to draw
Chris.
money as a champion, which he hasn't done yet. So,
Alrighty,
Well, that's
let's go
the
ahead
thing.
and
Like,
get
he's
set.
talking from a position of a guy that has never been in charge of a locker room before, and he doesn't understand how to lead them.
All right, let's go ahead and give Cedric a chance. What's your opinion?
They pretty much nailed it whatnot. But the perspective that I was gonna go from whatnot. We have Jason and Joe have talked about stepping up, being a leader for whatnot. But I'm looking at it also from the flip side as well in regards to fans and their expectations as well. Man, you brought up a good point about like a lot of this aren't freaking necessary and whatnot. But it's gonna take time and whatnot if the current crop of wrestlers wants to recondition the fans into a style and a presentation where they don't have to take as many risks and whatnot. Instead of keep trying to one up each other to get that this is awesome and the holy shit moments. So and whatnot and whereas that's becoming commonplace whatnot. But for fans to be reconditioned, like they're having this technical battle in the ring and whatnot. Can we get them to pop to that? That's gonna take some work. But as fans, I think we need to step back and look and appreciate them for entertaining us, and just like us, we have family. Why not? They have family. They have to go to them as well, and they keep. I feel like fans treat wrestlers as a piece of meat, like just there to entertain, and we have to get out of that mindset as well.
I kind of don't agree with that.
Well, I know you don't, Joe. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. Tell me another industry where its fans have more of a ability to be more interactive with entertainment than in wrestling, as direct. So I say all that to say there is the wrestler to the wrestling fan has a different connection and interaction than any other entertainment field out there. Tell me another one.
I don't even understand that comparison because
no.
Or saying that I don't understand that because you're saying first off, if the wrestling industry, if the promoters and the wrestlers are feeding into the internet wrestling bullshit, that's on them. It's not on the fans because the fans do that shit about TV shows, movies, and everything. The difference is Hollywood writers and shit don't get on and read what the marks are saying and fucking change the way they write shit and fucking cater that shit to that. They keep putting shit out. If people don't go out and watch it, they stop making that shit. But they make the shit people come out and watch. I'm just saying that's not on the fans. That's on the industry itself. That's on the people running the company. You don't have to fucking get on here and read what people are saying and give a shit. They don't have to give a shit about what I'm saying right now. If I'm sitting here talking about a Marvel movie that came off and I'm running about, oh, they fucked this up. It was so inaccurate and I didn't like the way they did this. If I do that shit and then they go and make the next movie and they give a shit about it and change stuff, that's on them. I don't owe them any fucking gratitude for changing the movie, and I don't owe them anything if they don't. If you feed into what fucking fans are saying and you change and you let the fans dictate the show, then you're the fucking mark.
Hey,
That's the problem. Is that's the cycle we were
said.
talking about earlier, right? Because it's like who's working who. Are the fans working the wrestlers, or the wrestlers working the fans? So,
well,
like,
the problem is, I'm about to say something that you're not going to expect me to say. AEW gives in to the to the internet wrestling marks. WWE doesn't. WWE is always driving their own bus.
Yeah.
And that was evident by Roman Reigns winning at WrestleMania. They didn't give a shit that you didn't like it. They didn't give a shit what you expected to happen. They went with what they booked. When they made Daniel Bryan the world champion, when they made Kofi Kingston the champion, they did a good job of letting you think you were driving the bus, but you weren't.
Hey, well said. Well said.
AEW's letting the fucking inmates run the prison.
Well, and it's not. It's even. They're even. I mean, a lot of the storylines and the writing and the way they're doing things. It's not even just that they're specifically catering to fans, but it's actually more about the wrestlers popping each other than it is sometimes about getting a reaction from the fans. And that's been the indie scene for quite a while. Certainly in the California and in that Southwest sort of part of the country. It's been a lot about the wrestlers telling inside locker room jokes and relationships and stories being put in front of the camera and popping each other, and then the fans who consider themselves smart to the business and smart to the relationships with the wrestlers, they buy into that stuff. So it's almost like a story within a story. It's like, we're here to see a wrestling match, but we're really here to watch the locker room dynamics play out in the ring. And it's that shit that's actually creating some of this other. Like again, then you're just waiting. You're acting the way you're acting to create a dynamic between you and your fellow wrestlers, and you're hoping that dynamic gets a pop from the fans rather than just actually having a narrative that you've thought out and a clear psychology of how you're going to convey it and portray it. And that's not the priority anymore. So
people in the business can work themselves into a shoot.
Yeah,
but that shit doesn't. That's one thing I'll give WWE. That shit doesn't happen up there. And I'm gonna mark my words on this. This could be a short. This could be whatever the fuck. Send it to whoever you want. Mark my words on this one statement. If it happens on TV, it's a work. 100%. I'm not saying that as my opinion. I'm letting you know, as somebody that spent 10 years in the business, was backstage working with WCW, with WWE. I've been backstage at ECW, and I've been backstage at TNA. Lots of major wrestling companies. If it happens on TV, it's a work. Nothing. WWE has never let something that's real happen on air. I 100% guarantee you that, and I don't give a shit who says different. I don't give a shit. The difference is, fans that think they're smart to the business are not. They're not. There's not a fan alive that's smart to the business. That's ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. Because people think, because to this day, Bret the Hitman Hart, every time he does an interview, is still working. And the fans still believe it. Because he's the best.
I'm going to piggyback off that really quick, because he was in the news because he was criticizing John Moxley about the blading and everything else. What everybody else failed to realize is he was in the middle of launching Dungeon Wrestling in Calgary.
Yeah,
his name got all over the wrestling news for about a week and a half when he threw John Moxley onto the bus and trashed him for his blading, which he deserved. I'm not arguing that, but people don't realize they're getting worked by Bret, because you're saying his name and you're putting his name up on the articles, and guess what he was launching that week?
Yeah.
Gotcha, suckers.
Bret's a carny through and through. Like he's Bret the Hitman Hart is one of the most, and we're not talking about just in ring. He's just one of the best workers there ever was in professional wrestling, and the other one's Vince McMahon.
I wonder if people a lot of people throw that term around. I wonder if people actually know where the term mark comes from. You guys, do you know the origin of that? I'm sure Joey probably knows. Yeah. Do you guys know the origin of it?
I don't know the origin, but
back in the Carney days, when this stuff was happening, like in the traveling carnivals and things like that, what they would do is, if you came into the fairground or into the carnival and you were flashing money, and you were what they would call an easy mark, meaning that this is a guy we can suck a lot of money out of. He's gonna He's going to play the games and he's going to gamble and he's going to do this and he's in America. So they would literally put some chalk on their hand and they would pat you on the back, or they would do something, put a mark on you, and they would say, and that they would identify you to the other people in the carnival, so that they would know to try to con you or try to get the money out of you, because you either flashed cash or you showed that you were a sucker and you were easy to sort of to hoodwink into that. That's actually where the term comes. It's somebody that's it's a term they use to mean that this guy is easy money. This guy's going to be, we can put his butt in the seat really easy because he's going to buy it. That's somebody that's easy to easy to suck in.
That's what I was going to say. It was someone that was weak-minded, but I didn't know exactly what.
Not really weak-minded, but that but you can be taken, you can be worked. That's where it comes
gullible.
from. If
Gullible.
if I can get the money out of your hands, or I can convince you something I'm doing is what's actually happening, like that, then that's where the term comes from. Then you're a mark, because then now I got your money.
But it actually came from them literally marking, like literally putting like a chalk print on your back, or
it's just carny talk.
Just carny talk. It's just that. So
gotcha.
And that's a thing in the wrestling business too. The guys at the very, very top, they always are trying to work the boys. So the very fact that, oh my God, you heard wrestlers on an interview saying this had happened is real. Yeah, it doesn't make it real. It doesn't make it real at all.
And they might be telling you that story just like in Brett's case, because it has nothing to do with the story itself. It just has to do with getting himself enough traction in the media that his name is getting put around, so that you check out Dungeon Wrestling or whatever the case may be.
Or Brett gets another vacation to the UK because they want another shoot interview with him on a live shoot interview on stage with him, and he gets to take his wife over to fucking England again.
Also that. So
he's working, dude. Like Bret Hart, every time he opens his mouth, Bret Hart is never gonna shoot to fans. He's not. He will never do it. Like if he's the type of worker, and you can just tell it. He's the type of guy that when he opens his mouth, he's always working something. Even when he's 75 years old and he's up on stage and you have to come out there with a walker, Brett is still going to be selling something to you.
And so is Ric Flair, Drip.
Yeah.
And so like all these guys have their hands in other things. So when they're going on podcasts or when they're shooting on somebody in the business, it all has a point.
Hey,
he shoots on WWE and he's backstage. He's backstage a week later on the 30th or whatever it is. I mean, come on, like we know this is all you have to know by now. Yeah.
Best thing Bret Hart ever did is work WCW into paying him millions of dollars to fucking come in and sandbag. Right. Like he's like, no, I didn't do that. It's like, yeah, come on, man. You went there and just turned into a wet sandbag on TV. Like fucking just shit the bed on you.
Oh,
he walked around out there,
man,
come on, man, and got millions and millions of dollars over it. And Vince didn't even have to pay him anymore, and he's killing his competition and not even having to pay him. Like fucking, I mean, trust me. People thought the CM Punk pipe bomb was real, and I'm like, bro, that wasn't even a good work.
I think what it is with that was that he made it believable, and then on top of that, it was like dishing dirt from backstage.
But
that's what made people really,
Man.
Except that's WWE going. We kind of see what's going on in the indies and the small promotions.
Yeah.
So
we're going to capitalize.
We're going to portray that. We're not going to really do it. We're just going to perform that.
You think they're going to let a guy have a live fucking microphone on national fucking TV if he's really going to go into business for himself?
In a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
Hey,
right? This isn't your downtown bingo hall. This is
they're in control all the time,
man. Yeah, they have board members that they have to answer to. They have shareholders they have to answer to. It's not that easy.
This is why they write scripts in WWE. This is why they do things the way they fucking do it. and it's still working for them, despite the fact that it's annoying as shit to me. And completely
we're back again. Love the WWE.
Hey, welcome back, Joey.
What was that? That was like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. He was like, "No, we're back. Welcome back, buddy."
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due, and then shit on the people that deserve it. It's just
but
what
what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna cut that one little 5 minute or 6 minute segment where you were praising WWF, and I'm just gonna put that on cycle.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't know when we're going to get that again.
I'm giving him credit where credit is due. I don't like.
If somebody's watching right now and you haven't got your lotto ticket yet today, you better go get it.
I mean,
this is one in a million right now.
No, it's the truth though. Like, I don't like the fucking wrestling they put on, the so-called wrestling, but I give them credit where credit is due, and it's so easy. If you just put it this way, when fans think they're smart to the business, if you were smart to the business, there's no way that this shit would get past you. And that's just a fact, because I've seen, to talk about guys like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, those dudes got off on working the boys. Like, they made their whole fucking reputation of working the boys to where people thought they were genuinely kind of dicks. They weren't. I've met some people that were dicks, like fucking Hurricane Shane Helms. That guy's a mark for himself and thinks he's a bigger star than he is. He legitimately does. He is a mark for himself. But fucking Hall and Nash, no. Those guys, again, you're talking about guys that left the WWF and managed to leverage themselves, work a promoter into giving them, like 10 times what they were making in fucking WWF.
And not only that, but convince them to give them matching contracts, so that every time somebody else came in after them, they had to up the
favorite nations.
That's a hell of a contract, man.
Congratulations, Eric Bischoff. You're the biggest mark in the Hall of Fame.
Damn.
He knows it, though. He has to know it by now that he got worked hard.
He got worked.
That was a good one. That was a good one, fellas. That was a good
awesome.
one.
Yeah, but before we get out of here, when we said we was going to talk about this, we can easily go 20, 25 minutes. 50 some minutes later. 50 some minutes later, but good discussion, y'all. As customary with the free for all, let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule for the upcoming month. Next week, we're gonna cover our top 10 favorite WCW World Champions, and the week after that, we keeping that WCW story alive. We gonna talk about the Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA, WCW, that whole relationship. We're gonna cover a little bit of a time frame with that one. Then on May 24th, as voted by the members of our group, we're gonna bring you the top 10 AWA World Champions. Then on May 31st, we're gonna cover the outrageous, outlandish characters and gimmicks in wrestling history, and we're gonna dive into that one. And then on June 7th, we're gonna come back to you all with our next free for all. But gentlemen, we're almost at the top of the hour. This has been a different show. This has been different.
Yeah, it's been different, man. What is my name down there? Tell me more. I am listening. I've learned something as always. Thank you, Jason, for coming on, blessing us with your presence. I appreciate that. And man, every time it is always a blessing, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate being here.
Outstanding. As customary, as we hear on Bells and Bells, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, man up. We'd love for them to do one thing for us. What we want them to do for us.
Well, if you're on YouTube or if you're not on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know you like the conversation. You know you like what we're doing. Hit that subscribe, hit that like. And when you subscribe, I want you to hit all notifications. So anytime we do anything here on YouTube, you will be notified. Joey, what else can they do?
Well, we'd like for you to join the Facebook group, Bells and Belts Podcast, right there on Facebook. When you're in that group, you're a member of the creative team, because we put up polls, we ask for your help in determining what you want to see, which stay tuned. If you're a member of the group, you're going to be seeing that. So it's advantageous to be both a member of the group and a subscriber on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Outstanding. So gentlemen, outstanding show as usual. Again, Jason, thank you for joining us again this month.
Thank you.
All right. For my tag team partners, man up for Joey and for our good friend Jason Davis. I'm your boy Cedar D, and we will see you guys here next week here on Bells and Belts.